Hello and welcome to another Tuesday of DMs with PM. I am your host, Oslin Crosby. Remember, it is your most dynamic and interactive program every Tuesday where we get to feature either the Prime Minister or a government minister. We want to say welcome to all our listeners and viewers on our various radio stations, Power FM, Star FM, We FM, GBN, Fusion FM, Vibes FM, also following on GIS, Facebook, and the YouTube channel. It is always a pleasure to be here with you as we get an opportunity to dissect. You have an opportunity to ask your questions and get the answers at the same time. Today we have a special guest. Our featured guest today will not be Prime Minister Mitchell, but it will be our Minister, the Honorable Lennox Andrews. He is a Minister of Economic Development, Planning, Agriculture and Lands, Cooperatives and Blue Economy and Marine Affairs. Minister Andrews, welcome.
Thank you very much. I am so happy to be here, and I'm so happy to be schooled by you.
I guess we are switching positions today.
We're switching positions today.
Yes, Mr. Andrews was my lecturer, so it is good. It feels different, but it is also easier to deal with familiar faces, people that we have interacted with in the past.
Yes, certainly.
Minister, today we know you as the economist. We always know you as a financial mind. We know you as a lecturer. In my case, I know you as a lecturer. But Grenada and your constituents, who is Lennox Andrews? The things that we don't know.
Well, I suppose there are very few things that people don't know about me. I've been around for a while, put it that way. But I was born in Hartford Village and raised in Grenville. I did my primary education at the St. Andrews Methodist School, and then I proceeded to the Grenada Boys Secondary School, where I did my 7 years of secondary education. In those days, we had something called advanced level. So after you completed the 5 years of ordinary level, you go on to do 2 years of advanced level. So I did my 2 years of advanced level in mathematics, economics, and Spanish. And my friends used to call me then the Spanish banker. But having graduated, I then left for Cuba. And I studied 6 years at university in Cuba and graduated as a licenciado in National Economic Planning. I returned to Grenada, and then a few years later on, I went on to the University of the West Indies in St. Augustine, Trinidad, and I pursued a Master of Science degree in Development Economics before returning to home somewhere around 1996, 1997. And then after that, I took another job at the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank as the country economist for Grenada and Montserrat. And that was indeed very much revealing to me, because it's the first time I felt, as an economist, having to analyze the macroeconomic performances of these two countries, Grenada and Montserrat. And it was rather interesting then, because at that time, Montserrat was destroyed by a volcano. And I had to go to Montserrat practically every month. And I remember once the then governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, the late Sir Dwight Venner, asking me, is there an economy in Montserrat? And my response was, wherever people assemble, there is an economy. And therefore, we should continue to monitor economic developments, economic activities in Montserrat. And I'm happy to see that today Montserrat remains as another member of the ECCU, the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. And I left the central bank in the early 2000s to return to Grenada because I was called to assist in the Ministry of Finance. And I spent some time there until I finally left the ministry sometime in 2009 and joined the private sector. And here I am as a politician.
The rest we know. The rest we know. You started off telling us about your boyhood days, where you started school, where you went to school. Is there a fond memory of your boy days that is still very vivid in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed GBSS, I must admit. Being a country boy, going to school in GBSS in those days was, to a large extent, a rare occasion. All right? But in GBSS, there was the Students' Council. We had a very vibrant Students' Council. And I recall being elected to serve on the executive of the Students' Council. And that gave me a certain amount of privilege, it gave me a certain amount of vibes, and perhaps it may have contributed a lot to the being me a politician. Because it was, in those times, serious election campaign to be on the executive of the Students' Council. So I remember the year when a group of us from the countryside, we came together and we called ourselves the Student Socialist Party, running for election. And we had Mr. George Brizan as our advisor. Good? And all of us won our seat. In fact, the person who ran against me, he got 1 vote, which was himself. And today he's a prominent lawyer in St. George's. And whenever I meet him, we reminisce of those days of youthful academic exploits.
Okay.
Yeah, so I remember that. And what was nice about the council is that you had power. You had student power. So I would come to school one morning and I would take the bell and ring the bell and call the students out, and I said, let us demonstrate. And we will demonstrate. We will line the streets of Tantine with placards from around 9 to midday. And we went moving because there may be something the government did that we didn't like. So I recall, for example, there was a time when one of our history teacher was dismissed. That history teacher was Ambrose Philip. He was dismissed. And we weren't happy. So for a whole week, we demonstrated in Tantine until we got a teacher. And if I recall very well, the girls from high school also joined in as well. So you know, that vibes of working with people and helping people and looking after people's needs, it started way back when in my early academic years of formation.
Mm-hmm. With all those things happening then, did you foresee yourself here today?
I would say yes. I mean, I have always had a desire to try and understand the difference between why some people do well and why others not doing well. Because I grew up in a community in which it was very obvious. You had a large number of people struggling in the midst of a few who did well. And I had empathy for these because I was part of them as well. And it was my intention from a very young age to, you know, think about what can be done. Why are these people like that? And what can be done to help improve their situation? And that's one of the reasons, too, why I studied economics. I mean, most of my other friends, they did engineering and medicine, but I did economics because way back then, I had a thought in my mind about helping people and what can be done to assist people and to help people to improve their lives. Because the truth is that I was not comfortable living in a village where so much poverty abounds, in the midst of a few doing well. And that's where I got the drive from since an early age to be a politician, put it that way, or to find myself in a position where I would be able to take decisions or get towards improving the lives of people.
Okay. Okay. So that would have indirectly prepared you for what we are faced with now. Being a politician, we know, is not an easy task. It takes quite a lot. In your now position as a politician, as a minister, has there ever been a challenge that you have encountered? And how have you managed to get yourself out of it?
Well, I mean, there are two aspects to the work of a politician. Once you're a politician and your party wins, you will become a government minister. And therefore, your work becomes twofold. On the one hand, you have to fulfill your job as a minister, and simultaneously, you have to maintain that grounding with your people. You have to be with them. Good? And perhaps this is, for me, the most difficult part of my job. How can I fulfill my duties as a Minister for Economic Development and Planning, Agricultural Lands, Forestry, Marine Resources, the Blue Economy, and so on, and cooperatives, and bring benefits to our people, and simultaneously maintain that contact with the people who put me here, and ensure that they see me, and they want to see me regularly, and ensure that their needs are met, their needs are satisfied, because they elected me to solve their domestic, the individual problems, yeah? But it goes both ways. The truth is that to the extent that I can fulfill my needs, let us say as a Minister for Agriculture, simultaneously I should be fulfilling the needs of my constituents as well. Good, and this is what I've been trying to do, and but that for me is perhaps the biggest part of the job. How to find that balance. How to find that balance.
Right. All right. Well, I guess then that power you held back at GBSS now comes to play, right? Just in a different position.
Yeah, I think GBSS is a good school. You know, I think it would have prepared us for leadership, right? And GBSS gave us a sense of patriotism, a sense of love to one's homeland, love to one country, love to one people, and a desire to want to excel and to do well academically. It makes you want to get a feeling of individual pride, of individual achievement. So that school was a school that pushed you to excel and to do well, and to also contribute to your society. And it has a lot, of course, to do with the teachers that we had. I mean, I was schooled by George Brizan. I was also schooled by Basil Bonaparte. Good. And in those days, these teachers were teachers who took a special interest in your education and in your formation. And when they speak to you, they would say to you, you are the leaders of our country in years to come. And therefore you have to be bright. And therefore you have to study hard. And you have to achieve. So they gave us a sense of motivation, a sense of drive, a sense of enthusiasm. And they did it with a certain level of, honesty in them, a certain passion with them. So that whenever you saw them, it's like you want to be like them. And you'll remember the words that they will say to you. They took a special interest in your education and in your formation. And I think to a very large extent, they played a major role in the formation and development, not just of myself, but the whole cohort of us who went to school in GBSS in the late 1970s.
Right. Thank you so much, Minister. I don't think we can ask for a better introduction, small talk as to what we don't know. Now we do know. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into our direct messages to Minister Andrews.
It's like the water pure and clean. It's a comfort anytime you need it. It's for everybody, fresh and green. You can count on us, there's nothing like it. It's homegrown. It's island pure. It's homegrown.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, we were chit-chatting with Minister Andrews. Some of the things that we don't know. We see him, but we don't know those things. So he got to share what got a bit intimate with us about who he is, what he has done, but more so how he has gotten to this point. Now it's time for us to get into the actual DMs, the direct messages that you sent for the minister to answer. So our first message today for fisheries. When will the fisher folk who were left out after burial be compensated or given something? Question there from Legacy.
All right, so Legacy, thank you for this question. And I want to begin by saying that following burial, our officers did an analysis of the damage that were done to the livelihoods of our fisher folks. And we took the decision to provide them with support. I can say to you that under the SIEP program, 37 fisher folks received engines. Good. Others receive assistance in the rebuilding of the boats. Good. I know that not all would have received the assistance requested. We did get a list from all of the parishes, and we also got a list from Carriacou. Obviously, the list from Carriacou needed to be cleaned because it was bloated, it was heavy. And in the case of the other parishes, we were able to clean up the list and provide them. It is true that there are a few people who are left without any assistance, but we are providing that assistance. A few days ago, for example, just last week, put it more exact, just last week I was in Carriacou, and I handed over an engine to a fisherman from Carriacou who got damaged. Last week as well, we distributed about 5 engines to people in the mainland. I myself would have distributed a couple, good, and we still have a few more to be distributed. Of course, the people have already been assigned to who will get them. Our intention is to get some more engines, good. That will happen sometime at the end of the first quarter of next year, to assist those who have not received any benefit. And so for such persons, I will want you to make contact with your minister. And I'm saying that specifically, make contact with your minister. And once your minister verifies that you are in need, that you didn't receive any assistance, then we will proceed to provide the assistance for you.
Okay, thank you, Minister. On to our next question, MNIB. Can you give us an update on MNIB since not much was said during the budget consultations? That question from Anselm James.
Okay, Mr. James, I have to say as well, thank you for the question. So where we are with MNIB, we are at the stage right now where we are looking for investors. We are looking for investors. So if there is anybody who wants to come and take over MNIB, we'll be happy to have that discussion with you. The government would have cleared all the debts of MNIB. The assets are available. So all you have to do now is to start the operations of MNIB. And government is looking towards establishing a public-private partnership relationship with anyone who is interested. I know that contact have been made with a few local private individuals already, but there has not been a final decision. So the door is still open. The door is still open for anyone who has an interest in partnering with government to get NMIB running again, because our intention is to create a PPC, public-private partnership, public-private partnership relationship going forward for MNIB.
Okay, thank you, Minister. On to our next question, farm roads. I want to ask respectfully, what is your administration's concrete plan for supporting organic and sustainable farmers, specifically in terms of technical training, access to resources, certification pathways, and long-term policy protection? That question from Marcus Andrews.
So Marcus, that's a very appropriate and relevant question given what is happening with us today. You are aware that agriculture is for us a major industry in our country's economic transformation and development. And of course, I am the Minister for Agriculture. We see agriculture as a science, and we want to bring as much science as possible to agriculture. We have in place a plan, one, for the development of all of our agricultural estates, and there is also a plan to assist our private individuals. Presently, we focusing on educating Grenadians and getting more young Grenadians involved in the agriculture industry. So presently we have 15 young Grenadians studying agricultural science at the University of Guyana, at the School of Agriculture in Guyana. They are studying for a diploma, a 2-year diploma. Our intention is that once they are interested, we want them to go on to the University of Guyana to do their bachelor's degree in agriculture. So we're going to have enough trained Grenadians in different aspects of agriculture. It could be agronomy, it could be pest management, and so on. So that's one. Secondly, to the extent that we are in the hurricane zone, good, and that climate change is real, and climate change is affecting very much us as a country and as a people, our focus is on climate-smart agricultural practices. And therefore, we are training our people in those climate smart agricultural practices, the shade house, the greenhouses, and so on. In fact, under a specific program that we have, the PISLM, we are receiving a number of assistance that would allow us to provide technical assistance, training for our young people in different aspects of agriculture, which also include things like drones. Good. So yes, so we have a plan in place for that, and that is being implemented right now.
Okay, thank you, Minister. On to a question there from Princesca Isabel. Are there plans to implement initiatives to increase the number of cooperatives and friendly societies in Grenada?
Right. So cooperatives. So let me just. So thanks, Prince, for the question. So let me just explain. There are two kinds of cooperatives. You have the productive cooperatives, where individuals come together and work together to produce a final product or final good. The productive cooperatives, and you also have the financial cooperatives, which are basically the credit unions. And these are well established, these are well developed in Grenada, they contribute meaningfully to the growth of the financial sector in Grenada. I think where the focus has to be now is on the productive cooperatives and on developing our productive cooperatives. We do have a Cooperatives Act, good? But the Cooperative Act is an act that covers both productive and financial cooperatives. And in my humble opinion, the present Cooperative Act does not cater very well for the productive cooperatives. It works well for the financial cooperatives, but it does not work too well for the productive cooperatives. In the cooperative department, what we are doing now is that we are preparing a white paper. In fact, we have prepared a white paper to deal with the productive cooperatives, so that the productive cooperatives can have its own jurisdiction. It can have its own law, specifically for productive cooperatives. And we're seeing that as a basis for helping us to develop the productive aspect of the cooperative movement here in Grenada. Of course, we do have a number of productive cooperatives in the country. Perhaps, I mean, some of them are doing well, others are not doing very, very well. But one of the major challenges is financing. And to the extent that they are cooperative, our view is that the financial cooperatives can play a major role in helping to develop the productive cooperatives by providing a financial facility for them, whereby they can get loans for growth, for startup and so on, and loans that are not as expensive. Call them concessionary loans, because you're part of the cooperative movement. So we are working on preparing that, if I may say, that bill that will go to the parliament and that will go to the upper and lower houses, so that the productive cooperatives can have their own law which govern their relationship and their development.
All right. Thank you, Minister. Now on to our next question, unemployment. The IMF report indicated that unemployment rate is at 11%, but recently your government announced that it is 7.5%. Can you clarify these statistics? Question there from Rupert.
Yeah, but Rupert, thank you very much, and you're so right. You're quite right. I was the one who announced on Sunday at the rally. In my speech to the last gathering, I did announce that the unemployment rate at the end of October 2025, 7.5%. The IMF is also right, but that data from the IMF was for last year, the last quarter of 2024. Unemployment was in fact 11.6%. But at the end of the first quarter 2025, it was 9.9. At the end of the second quarter 2025, it was 9.8. And the latest figure at the end of October 2025, the unemployment is 7.5%. Okay. And noted among that is unemployment among the young people. The data is showing that unemployment among the young people fell from 24.1% to 14.9% as new employment, as new job opportunities are being created in the economy. And interestingly, when this government took office, this government is of the opinion that to create more employment opportunities, to create more job opportunities, we had to identify new areas of economic activities. And first, we established what was called the creative industry economy. Good. And then secondly, we also had the blue economy. And with the expansion of the economic base of the country, we also see an increase in the number of job opportunities. And these job opportunities are taken up by our young people. And therefore, the figures are in fact showing that we have quite a number of young people employed both in the creatives and in the blue economy.
Okay. Thank you, Minister. As an icebreaker, just before we go on the break, there was a question that came in from one of the viewers, from Dwayne D. Thomas. He wants to know why you wear your tie the way you do.
Well, I will answer this by saying that there is no mystery that cannot be explained. And for some people, it's a mystery that they find me wearing my tie. But it gone back to my school days at the GBSS. Right? Now, in my early years, the world was virtually a world of conflict and a world of instability. Yeah? So you had issues like black power, you had countries fighting for the liberation, for the independence, and so on. And in my early years, being brought up, you know, we had the Grenada Revolution, we had black power movement in Trinidad, you had the oil crisis as well taking place at that time. And people refer to the decades of the 70s and the 80s as the lost decade because there was not much growth and not much development. There were a lot of progressive thinkers and progressive thinking. You had Maurice Bishop, you had the great Guyanese historian and politician named Walter Rodney, very influential people. You had the Black Power movement in Trinidad with NJAC and all of that. And all of these things impacted on us. And you also had great music as well, progressive music as well. And here I want to just take a few minutes and pay homage to Jimmy Cliff, because Jimmy Cliff was one of the persons with his progressive music that inspired me and impacted positively on my life, with songs like Many Rivers to Cross, Time Will Tell, Use What You Got to Get What You Need, Going Back West, and so on, Hard Road to Travel, you know. So as a kid, these were positive vibes, good? So I developed in me a sense of patriotism, a sense of nationalism. Now going to school in GBSS, you either wear a tie or you wear a badge. You must wear either or. Good? No, I didn't have no badge, so I had a tie. Good? And because the tie was unseen, as many of us and myself, as a colonial imposition on us to demonstrate our non-support. I personally put my tie on my shoulder. I put my tie on my shoulder, and it has stayed with me as that habit. Good? So I know I have a good friend, every morning he calls and he speaks about the tie on my shoulder, and I appreciate him. I would want to meet him one day so we could talk about it, you know. But I appreciate him to the extent that he thinks that in so doing, if I wear my tie the normal way as people wear it, I may be a much better person. I appreciate that. But I would like to meet him one day for us to chat about it.
Okay. I think now Grenada knows why you wear your tie on your shoulder. Thank you, Minister. We do appreciate the response. Today is quite an edified one for us, getting to know you a lot better. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we will be sharing our DMs from the street.
Cinnamon, one of the signature designs of Project 500. This 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home spans 1,122 square feet, crafted for sustainable and modern living. The design features efficiency in wall, windows, and roof, engineered to reduce your overall electrical consumption by minimizing heat buildup. A cooler building on those hot days. Inside, you'll find low-flow plumbing fixtures, which reduces water usage. Efficiency without sacrifices. With 3 spacious bedrooms, this design offers a retreat for all members of the family. With an open floor plan comprising of dining, living, kitchen, dedicated laundry, utility closet, water storage, solar panel, and parking for 2. And an area for outdoor home gardening. The Cinnamon balances functionality and style. At Project 500, is more than just building homes. It's about developing sustainable communities and delivering quality homes for all families.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us or being here with us. If you missed the first part of the show, you missed a lot. You really did miss a lot. As Minister has been sharing so much with us, we have heard about him. We have also been hearing about the government and his ministry's policies for us as a nation, how we're moving forward, where we were, where we are now, and where we are going. So now it's time for us to take in our DMs from the street. So let's go over to Norris. Find out what's going on. What are the questions that the people on the street have for Minister Andrews?
Today in studios, we have Honorable Lennox Andrews, and we are in St. Andrews Southwest constituency, my constituency. Come with me as we get the DMs from the streets, from the people that matters. Welcome to DMs on the Streets. My name is Norris Francois. What's your name?
Dolisha Henry.
Where do you teach, Dolisha?
Right here at Holy Innocents Anglican School.
Ask your question to the minister.
Right. So, Mr. Minister, my question to you is, how invested are you in music for our youngsters? Because here at Holy Innocents Anglican, we have a steel pan orchestra. We've been operating for a couple years well, and we were looking for someone who can invest in our students with music. Right. So we have students who went on to play at the Rainbow City All-Stars, right? So we're looking for someone who can invest in our students, real music, and we would like to get steel pan. The cost of the bus every day, we go twice a week. It's quite a lot for some of the parents. And so we're unable to, fund it every time. So we're looking for someone who can really take us under their wings, who can sponsor us and so on. We'd like to get maybe a steel pan or two, some sticks for the students, and we'd like to even get a uniform and be official, So I'm asking you, can you invest in our youngsters here at Holy Innocents Anglican?
Okay, thank you very much for the question, Onisha. And I want to answer your question by saying that I do believe in music. For me, music is a therapy. And if I had my way, I would teach 3 subjects at the primary school level: maths, English, and music. Yeah? And when I say teach music, I mean our children have to be able to read, write, and play music. Now, you may recall some time ago I was a minister of the creative industries, and music is one of the creatives that we use to help to build our country. I have therefore a great interest in music. I would have, in my years as the Minister for Tourism, sought and got financial support for the Rainbow City All-Stars through the Sandals Foundation. I would have filled up that form, and they got, I think it was $80,000 to help them with their steel pan development. I can't say exactly if they actually received the money, but that project was approved. I think at the cabinet level, we also had a discussion about teaching music in school, and the decision was to have a program to assist music, to assist or to teach music in a number of schools in the island. We have not concretized it as yet, but we had a thought along those lines. But specifically to your school at Holy Innocents, I certainly would want to be able to provide whatever assistance I can to help you with your possibly with your bus transport, and possibly as well with a tutor. I know we have what's his name, Mr. Harvey, I think his name is, who goes around teaching music in schools, in primary and secondary schools. I would like to engage him. In fact, I would have already engaged him. I want to engage him again and to see in what way I can provide some assistance to him so he can continue that job of assisting our young people in music in schools. Yeah.
Thank you, Minister. We go on to another question from Norris.
Welcome to DMs on the Streets. My name is Norris Francois. What's your name?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Christine Charles.
All right, talk to Minister Lennox Andrews.
Hi, Mr. Lennox Andrew. I want to say thank you for this beautiful home that you gave my mom and my daughter and I. And you did a lot for us, and we appreciate everything that you've done for us. And happy. I'm very, very happy. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Ms. Charles. I am happy to know that we can do something to assist you and to bring happiness to you. As I said before, our aim and my aim is always to improve the lives of people and to see what we can do to make people happy. And if the construction of that home makes you comfortable, give you some place, a place that is safe and meaningful, and give you a sense of dignity and a sense of pride and make you feel good about yourself, then indeed I am very happy, and I would want to do more of that to help more of our people, not just in Southwest, but throughout all of Grenada.
Okay. Thank you, Minister, and thank you there to that constituent for that question. We go back to Norris for another question.
Welcome to DMs on the Streets. My name is Norris Francois. What's your name?
Michael King.
All right. Ask the minister your question.
Mr. Lennox Andrews, would there be any special concession for the graduating class of 2026 for buying tools to enter the world of work?
Right, I suppose, thanks for the question. I think the name is Miguel, you said. So thanks for the question, Miguel. Of course, this government and myself, we believe in our young people. We never despise our young people. Our aim is to ensure that our young people get the opportunities to do and to become what they want to be. For me, I would want to see Grenada like a big school where everybody can learn and everybody can acquire a skill and you study, because I do believe in education and I believe in skills training, because these are what the things we need to enhance ourselves and to make ourselves feel good about ourselves as well. So you make mention of tools, so I reckon that you have an interest in agriculture, yeah? And if that's the case, then certainly we will be prepared to provide whatever assistance we can give you to help you to become a good agricultural scientist. And I don't want to call you farmer, because agriculture is a science, and those who work in agriculture must be seen and recognized and accepted as scientists. Good? So all of our farmers are agricultural scientists. Good? And in fact, the way the world is today, where agriculture is concerned, everything is now science in agriculture. Good? So yes, we can provide whatever incentives that you may need, and not just incentives. I mean, we can also provide facilities for you as well. So we have a land bank, and part of our job in the land bank in the ministry is to provide land for young people who are interested in agriculture. We also have a youth in agriculture program in the ministry, and in that program we are training our young people in different aspects of agricultural science. The training is now being conducted, I think, at the Maribo Agricultural Station, and there are about 45 of them now being trained in different aspects of agriculture. Some of them, when they finish, they can now go to the youth in agriculture program and get a loan and establish their own farm. In the budget of this year, we put $500,000 to assist TAMCC with the agricultural science program. Yeah. So now they have constructed proper dormitories up at Maribo where students can stay in and be taught agricultural science. There are more demonstration plots, there are demonstration sites where that they can use to plant the tomatoes, the lettuce, and so on. So we have in place a program to assist TAMCC and to ensure that our young people get actively involved in agriculture. And as I said before, we have a program now with the university, with the School of Agriculture in Guyana, where you can go and study for 2 years and get your diploma. And if you so wish, you can also move on to get your bachelor's degree in agricultural science.
All right. Thank you, Minister, and thank you to that constituent for that question. So we go back to Norris for another question.
Welcome to DMs on the Streets. My name is Norris Francois. What's your name?
Renelle David.
Renelle David. Well, Renelle, ask the minister your question.
Dear Minister Lennox Andrews, for those who are doing nail technician, are there job first available once we've done our CVQ?
Nail technician. All right. Well, first of all, we have to provide adequate training for you in that area of nail technician. I know in Southwest we had a group of young ladies being trained, in that particular area. I, in fact, would have attended the class together with Minister Gloria Thomas. So that is good. We would continue to provide more training for you all. But from a discussion we had with the young ladies who attended the class, their concern was that what happens when we graduate? What's available for us? And just on Monday of this week, my ministry, the Ministry of Economic Development, presented to the cabinet a plan for the development of the rural economy of Grenada. And in that plan, reference is made to training in our young people in skills. Good? And so our intention, therefore, is to provide as much training as possible. After you're trained, in fact, part of the plan, the point I want to make too as well is that part of the plan involves providing financial resources for you once graduated. So you can now go to a financial, well, we want mainly the credit union you were thinking of, and perhaps GDB as well. You can go there and get a soft loan, a concessionary loan, to allow you to start your business and to become your own business person and to become economically independent and become economically strong. So that's the plan we have in mind for young people like yourself.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Minister, and thank you to that young person there for that question. Norris?
My name is Norris Francois. Welcome to DMs on the Streets, and who I'm here with?
Right, so Shane Roberts, teacher of the Holy Innocents Anglican School.
Well, ask your question to the minister.
So, Mr. Minister, we at the school, we're having a little issue with the school feeding program. We do have a school garden, but one of our major problems is having someone to work the garden and have things that we can get for the kitchen. So we're asking if it's possible that you provide a gardener who would assist with the garden on a daily basis, which would help alleviate the problem with the school feeding.
So thank you, Mr. Roberts. Thanks for the question. I don't think that is so hard to do. You know, when I was in school and we had a difficult maths problem, like a quadratic or a simultaneous equation, and we had problem solving it. After we solve it and we get it right, we used to mark at the end the QED, quite easily done. So I think in your case, your request can be quite easily done. Once you identify that individual who is committed and who can provide that kind of assistance for the farm, we would be able to provide the financing that he needs. You know, for example, government gives us $10,000 every month, and that $10,000 has to go back to the population, it has to go back to the people. We can use some of those resources to pay his labor costs and make sure that you have the necessary agricultural produce. And I'm happy that you're thinking like that, because we want our young people to eat local and eat healthy. Good. So I'm happy that you're thinking like that. You're thinking in the right direction, and that too in itself is a sense of, patriotism. And I love the word patriotism. And anytime we look inwards, we look into ourselves and see what we can do to help ourselves. That is pretty good. And to the extent that government is a facilitator and a regulator of economic activities, we can facilitate you by providing the financing to cover the labor support for whosoever you identify. So you can talk to me about that a few days from now when you meet on the street.
Minister, that brings a thought. I remember when I was going to school, the agricultural classes would take care of the school gardens, even the poultry and so. It would form part of your projects.
Yes, that is true. And one of the things that we do know is that we are rebuilding our forage in
clubs.
Rebuilding our forage in school. A few weeks ago, last week in fact, we had a symposium for the forage leaders, and I addressed them. Good. And we are providing a lot of support to the teachers, the forage teachers, and the forage leaders in our school. We're giving them plans, for example, because they're the ones who will be teaching the children how to do it. Right? So yes, we will want to also rebuild the forage in our primary school as a basis of them producing the produce that they need to consume in the school itself.
All right, great. Thank you, Minister. We have one last question from Norris on the streets.
My name is Norris Francois. What's your name?
My name is Mikey Isaac from Union St. Andrews.
All right, nice, Mikey. So tell the minister what you have to tell him.
Well, this is from Mr. Lennox Andrew. Beautiful work. Keep it up. I appreciate everything you have done for me with the helping of the disaster after Hurricane Beryl. You did very good. Plants, fertilizer at a reduced cost. We could do our thing. A lot of seeds. And you've been helping out everybody. I see that everybody is happy around the place. And kudos to the NDC government and everyone that is supporting the NDC. Big up. Do it. We need it. Progress. Things happening. Things are happening.
Yeah, so things are happening in agriculture. Thank you very much indeed for your encouragement. Not too many people, or maybe I shouldn't say that, but sometimes people get assistance and they don't come out openly and say, we got the assistance. So I'm happy that you are brave enough and strong enough to face the nation and say that the government provided that assistance to you following Beryl, and so you must let the people know. You must almost let the people know. So I'm happy for that, and it's an encouragement. It's a real encouragement, and we will continue to provide the assistance that we have to give to you, because we want every Grenadian to be economically independent and to depend on the talent, on the skills, on the time, on the treasure, and produce a good or a service for which there is a demand, so that they can look after their own self and make themselves feel proud about themselves.
Right. Thank you, Minister, and thank you to that constituent for the question. So we're going to take a quick break now. When we come back, we open the lines.
Bay Leaf, another of Project 500 signature design. This 3-bedroom, 1.5 bathrooms, a beauty, spans a gross area of 1,073 square feet. Built with fully insulated reinforced walls and insulated roof, Bay Leaf is crafted for comfort, efficiency, and sustainable living. The design achieves 100% efficiency in its superstructure. Inside, you'll find low-flow plumbing fixtures, large windows providing maximum ventilation, and a 25% greater efficiency than current building code requirements. Spacious bedroom, an open floor plan living, kitchen, and dining area. It is true to its name. Bay Leaf brings comfort and peace the moment you walk in. At Project 500, we're more than just building homes. We're about building sustainable communities and delivering quality homes for all families.
Welcome back. We're just about the last part of today's program where we open up the lines 423-3104. Please call. We are limited to time, but we want to take in as much questions as possible, so please keep your questions short. Good evening, caller. Good evening, caller.
Good afternoon, Minister Andrew. Mr. Andrew, you have been doing a very good job. But there are a few things that probably you need to look at. So you have the replacement IMEXA for MNIB. PPP, I think the advisors, that's my opinion, might be wrong, the advisors should have allowed people involved in the farming industry to be shareholders in that business from day one, and not 1 year or 5 years down the road. Mr. Minister, also, Soursop is being sold for approximately $14.99 US per pound on the retail market in the US. What can the government do to increase farmers' income in that regard? On the question of financing, that has been an issue for farming for a number of years. We have the IMA. Why is it that we don't have an agricultural bond for financing that can be administered by either the government or another institution or the Grenada Development Bank? And finally, sorry for giving you all of that, on the whole question of fisheries and ban, as I understand it, I may be wrong. Grenada may face a ban as it stands on the 1st of January. If the government is doing the work necessary to have that ban lifted, that information as I read it online, it can be submitted to NOAA so that fishermen don't face a stumbling block on the 1st of January. So an application or the information should be provided based on what I have read so that we avoid the ban altogether rather than when it comes January 1st, the ban is implemented and then you submit the application. So as I understand it, the application or the information can be submitted beforehand because the deadline is December 31st, 2025. Thank you. I look forward to your response.
Okay, thank you, caller, for the many questions. I heard some clearly and I didn't hear, or the other is not too clear. But to address the very last one relative to the ban, and perhaps I could use the opportunity to explain to the population. There are mammals in the sea. In the sea, there are mammals on Earth. And in 2012, the United States government passed laws to protect the sea mammals, like the dolphins and the whales, and indicated that any country that exports fish or fish products to the United States must have similar laws in their countries to protect mammals. And that it meant that countries therefore have to move towards updating their laws to reach that, to make it comparable to what the US wants. Our Fisheries Act has been enacted in 1986, so it's fairly old, and it does not take into consideration the issues confronting sea mammals, and therefore our Fisheries Act has to be updated. We responded to the requests of the US over the years to have, or to reach the comparability status that they request of other countries. Our last letter to them was in March of 2025, in which we explained to them what we have been doing. As far as they were concerned, we were not doing enough, and they asked us to do more. Now, in their letter, there were 3 areas where we had to focus on. One, the law, and that law has been passed now. It has been passed by, at least I know, for the lower house. Good. 2, the regulations. Regulations has to do with any penalty, any actions the government will take, just in case a fisher folk or fisherman, a commercial fisher, entangles with a sea mammal. Good. One of the things you're supposed to do, you have to put it back into the sea. So you have regulations. And the third issue has to do with monitoring of the fishing vessels, which means that you have to have some VHS camera on the vessel so you could actually see that, just in case a commercial fishing vessel gets entangled with a sea mammal, the correct actions have in fact been taken. We have done 1, 2, and 3. We are working on getting 3 done. Good. Now I must say to you that once we received that letter from NOAA in August of this year, we put together a 15-point agenda, action plan to solve that problem. All right? And action number 14 is that we must write to NOAA indicating the action that we have done so far. Because in their letter, they also said that if you took the necessary action, you can still apply. So right now, where we are is that we are preparing that application again to NOAA, so that the action can in fact be averted. But I must say that for the past few months, the American Public Service has not been working, and therefore we had some difficulties in getting to NOAA. We have asked our ambassador in Washington to make contact with NOAA so that we can meet with NOAA directly and present our new application to them, with the hope that they will accept the advancements that we have made with our regulations and with our act and with our monitoring, and so that they can, make a decision that would avert that decision being implemented come January 1st, 2026.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Minister. I know that caller had 4 questions, but the Minister will try to respond, but we would not be able to take in all the responses now. In the essence of time, we'll try to take in another caller now. Good evening, caller.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
All right. I am a farmer which had signed a contract since last October, thereabout, October, no, yes, after Hurricane Beryl. And I did the work, that's a land clearing and so, and up to this day have not yet received funds. I did resign the contract twice again, and up to this day, no funds have been received. So I don't know if the minister could enlighten me of what is the problem.
So if I know your name, if you leave your name and your number, I can be in contact with you to find out why you have not been paid and make effort to have you paid as quickly as possible.
All right, so caller,
okay, so
send us your information via WhatsApp, and the information will be used to make contact with you after the program to see how the issue can be resolved.
okay, thank you very much.
You're most welcome. Thank you so much for calling. So we do have another caller online. Good evening, caller. Thank you so much for calling. Good evening. Good evening, caller. I think we would have lost that one. Minister Andrew, I know one of the questions that the first caller who called, it was 4, and I'm not sure if you remembered any of the others. One dealt with that of financing.
Yeah, financing.
Yes, but remembering the question is the challenge, because they did come about. Okay, so we have another. Let's stick a pin on that one. We have another caller online. Good evening, caller.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Minister.
Good evening.
I have an issue. I'm not sure if you'll be able to direct me to who is in charge of that ministry, because I know you are not part of this ministry. I believe in, if you see something, hear something, you say something. So my niece, who goes to J.W. Fletcher School, her phone was confiscated on her way out the door. The teacher and the principal stopped her and searched her book bag and confiscated her phone. When my brother called the principal, she said that they would hold on to the phone until the end of the school term. Or if she want the phone right back, he would have to pay $100. To me, I find this very difficult to justify as reasonable. And I feel that this is punitive extortion rather than discipline policy. Is this legal? If not, can you please direct me to who I'll be able to speak with so they will be able to investigate this? Keep in mind, she needed the phone to contact her little brother so they could meet up to get on the same bus. That day, my niece got home at 6 o'clock and my nephew got home at 7. So if you could answer this for me, I would be more than happy.
Okay, thank you, Miss. I'm sorry to hear what happened to your child. I understand the value of phone, having your cell phone these days. But the situation, as you relate to me, in my opinion, requires your presence at the school itself. So my thinking is that you should go to the school, speak to the principal, speak to the teacher involved, and have the matter resolved right there and then. I think that's the simplest solution to the issue. Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, caller. We will take in another caller. Good evening, caller. Okay, I don't think we have anyone online, and it is just about time for us to wrap up. Minister, it was quite an evening with you. Very interesting. I think you handled well the questions, but also we got to know some more things about you. Just some parting words.
Some parting words, I would want to say this. The greatest merit one can achieve is to be at the service of his country and people. And I am very happy that I am in a position where I can serve my country, my people, serve my constituents with dignity and with pride, and with the broad philosophy of always working to improve the lives of all Grenadians, and of course to make the world a better place to live. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister Andrews. It was a pleasure speaking and sharing and hearing from you today. I think your constituents and Grenada, on a whole, feels the same way. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
All right. So that is where we conclude today, Prime Minister. We know that you are following. You may not be here with us, but thank you for being a part of the audience today, the viewing public today. We do appreciate your presence. This is where we conclude for today. It was a pleasure. Something different, another minister, but the information shared was relevant, timely, and of course, it answered your questions, gave you information on some very current affairs matters. That on the ban, I think now people may have a better appreciation as to the background information to that. We also get to learn more about Minister Andrew and that tie. We heard even about some of the agricultural policies, programs, youth, the creative sector, the background to government activities. And this is the purpose of this program: dynamic, interactive, but most relevant, and answers your questions. So that's where we conclude today. The technical team, Neela, Blondell, Shem, everyone, thank you so much again. It's always a pleasure. Betty, I did not forget you. Amanda and others, it's always a pleasure to have the team here. Without the team, we don't have a program, but mostly without you, the viewing and listening audience. We do appreciate your presence. Those on Power FM and Power FM, we say happy anniversary. We do appreciate you always being a part of this. Star FM, We FM, GBN, Fusion FM, Vibes FM, those following on YouTube, Facebook, and also on GIS. It is always a pleasure to be here with you. Remember, Monday, December 1st, Budget Day in Grenada. Please tune in to GIS, Facebook page, the television station, and the various television stations and media entities where you have an idea. You get to hear what are government's plans, programs, and policies for the new year 2026. Remember, you have an opportunity to hear what happened, but you will get an even bigger opportunity to hear what's the plans and programs for the new year. So we say thank you again. That's where we wrap up for today. I am your host, Oslin Crosby, saying goodbye, and we see you again next Tuesday when we do have another show of DMs with PM.